Yes, there we go.
All right.
According to the computer.
All right, Kenny.
All right. Finally.
Here we go. Your lead. Where do you want to go?
Well, hey, number one, I'm glad you're back on the show. You've been on the show before a couple of times. It was audio only.
Okay.
This one is video, obviously, so I've graduated up. Last time we spoke, it was at the TrutherCon in Dallas.
Yes, yes, that was fun.
That was fun. So I'm going to be at the next one too.
They're still on the fence whether I'm going or not because it's not inexpensive to get me there. Either way, great guys, great conference.
Well, I was going to go as a vendor, so I'm having to pay to go.
There you go. It's worth it. It's worth it. You get to see all the people, and it'll be great. So,
yeah,
we'll see what happens. It's all good.
Good deal. Well, the only thing I was going to talk to you about, I've really been watching a lot of your stuff that has to do with the Artemis. Yeah. And I like your video where the guy jumped in the water and stuff, and I was hoping you could give a presentation on that or anything you want, really.
We can go through some Artemis stuff. There's some other things that haven't talked about, and they're always worth talking about again because people need to know. People like I do a lot of TikTok lives, and we get these globers on, not anti-flat earthers, just ignorant globers, and they're like, "Well, we just went to the moon. What do you think about that?" And I'm like, "Really?" I mean, anybody that watched it with a slightly critical eye, I mean, NASA made more flat earthers than I have just with that one with that one launch. It's incredible, incredible. And this is from a random person. There's always a random person on an airplane. If NASA was launching a rocket to the moon, what do you think the window of a no-fly zone would be?
I would think it would be huge.
Hundreds of miles.
300 miles, probably.
Yeah. And look at this thing. It's right there. Now, remember the fake Challenger disaster hoax. What if that happened here? That would be the biggest. I would say it's 500 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 300 miles. All right. But there was planes all over the place. People watching from just 10 miles away said they saw a plane here. They saw a plane there. You saw a friggin' chemtrail over there. But
right.
And then if you go on YouTube and find one of these videos, there's now a couple of them. You hear the people talking on the plane. If you were on a plane and randomly a rocket to the moon took off, what would you be doing? You'd be going, holy mother, holy cow, everyone. Right. And everyone on the plane is just like, oh, yeah, hey, the rocket's going off. The pilot's like, yeah, off our left side, our rocket's taking off. It's like, what? Like, and people just, and this is proof to a normie because they're like, well, this was filmed by a random person. What are millions of people in on it? No, this isn't filmed by a random person.
Right. This could, I mean, just because they say it's filmed by a random person, don't mean it's a random person. It could be filmed by anybody, and I'm sure it was set up.
Yeah,
obviously.
Of course.
Yeah.
And you never see it go beyond here. It turns, and then it runs out of gas, and they cut the video. Like, there's the only video that went longer than about there. See, now it's that they cut it was Keith Aloha from Florida. But he put it on Facebook. It got like 1 million some odd views overnight, and then they took down his whole Facebook. He lost his whole Facebook.
Over that video, over filming the rocket launch.
They won't even give him an answer on why.
I wonder if it's because it got about right here and the smoke stopped, but you can still see it, and then as it starts to come down because they like ran out of the fake smoke.
All the other ones online cut either before that, or switch to a different view, which is called the cartoon view.
Right.
So they're in space, allegedly. Look at his hoodie string. Ready?
Okay.
Have you seen this? It literally becomes alive. Ready? Come on.
I see it.
Yeah. It's just camera tricks. And then this guy, that doesn't look like he's hanging from wires, right? It's not like they're pulling on his shirt.
Yeah, you can see the shirt up against the wires.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it looks like.
Absolute insanity. And then what I found very interesting, and now this isn't proof of anything other than there, on Facebook, there's all of these NASA fan pages, all of these space technology, all of these NASA fan pages. And the days after Artemis, they were all showing the Artemis on the truck. Well, this is the truck. How's it connected to the trailer? And then they're like, well, it's following it. It's robotic. They just make up excuses. But
yeah, see, that picture is clearly connected to the truck. That one was.
But if you take a look carefully, the entire capsule changes every single time. Different tiles, different windows, different everything, and
a different truck, a different color,
a different truck, right?
No truck,
no truck, and totally burnt. Right, and,
that's unbelievable.
But these are all AI, but they're on all of the NASA fan pages that these guys swear by, that mock flat Earth, that push space propaganda. They're all pushing this fake thing. Now, are they doing it on purpose? Are they doing it to like, hey, let's wake up the masses? I think, this is my theory, that flat Earth is out of the bag. It is growing, and there's no way to stop it. So what do they have to do to get people ready for this? Whether they're going to control it or not, what do they need to do to get people ready? Well, they need to push out the aliens. They need to push out fake space, right? They need to get people like, 15 years ago, if you believed in aliens, you were a tinfoil hat nut job. Now, if you don't believe in aliens, you're a tinfoil hat nut job.
Right.
So they've normalized it. Right? We had some of those drones over our neighborhood, right? Crazy. And the government said, we don't know what they are, but they're not dangerous.
Right.
How stupid is that?
We don't know what they are, but it's not going to hurt you.
So now that actually is going to help keep everyone calm. When something comes, real, fake, from the outer lands, whatever, holograms, whatever, people are going to be like, yeah, well, if they wanted to hurt us, they would have hurt us already, and everyone's going to be calm about it. So they're normalizing fake space. All right, space is fake. Then we can go right over to flat Earth. Hey, NASA's been lying, and all the people responsible for the NASA fibs, they're all gone, dead, retired, they're all gone. So the whole thing will just be brushed away. It's crazy.
So you think they're purposely doing this in order for people to realize that they're lying?
I waffle back and forth on it because I don't know. There's three possibilities. One, they're really stupid. Two, they're trying to wake people up. It's an intelligence test for the reset. Or three, they're just mocking us.
Right. They're
mocking us. I'll show you some mocking stuff in a minute where they're definitely mocking us. This one, what is this one? This one, the lighting changes and stars appear in the dark areas. Look, all of a sudden, you can see stars. Ready? This is inside. And all of a sudden, it's a little hard to see. There's stars. These are the stars outside. See all those dots?
Yeah, they're bleeding through or something.
Well, it's because maybe they have it, so there's 3D stars around them, and whenever the camera goes by the window, it would see the stars or something, but something went wrong. So the stars are there. You can see it on the guy's shirt.
It's like in the black areas you can see it.
Yeah. And the live stream that this came from, they edited it out of the live stream without taking the live stream down.
Oh.
Yeah.
So much for a live stream, right?
It's kind of like when Elon Musk screwed up with his 2 rocket boosters coming back to Earth, and each of them had a camera on it, but they mistakenly put the same feed into both cameras, and we caught them red-handed in a live stream. And we screen recorded it, and the next day the live stream was changed, the cameras were changed, but it didn't say edited. And you're not allowed to do that on YouTube. Now, yes, there is a clipping tool that you can use As long as you have less than 10,000 or 100,000 views, this thing had millions of views, and it was within a certain amount of time. It would have to say edited, but it didn't. So we know that the Googles, the Elon Musks, the NASA, it's all one big happy.
Right. They're all working together. I mean, if NASA or Elon says, "Hey, this thing needs to be changed right now," then it gets changed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's hold on. You saw this, right? When they were coming out. Now this is interesting. What do you think your opinion is on this? Now you've seen this, right?
I have seen that.
Yeah. So they were getting ready to go to the ship. They came out, they did a little press conference, they get in a van and they go over to the ship. Now, even if they were faking it, let's say they're faking it, why wouldn't they just have the 4 actors come out, have a press conference? Why would they need to fake this part?
Yep, that's a good question. I've seen this before, by the way.
Yeah, everyone's seen it. But
no, I mean, in different circumstances. They do this same thing all the time.
Oh, yeah. That, with the Clinton, Hillary, the presidential stuff. I made a whole bunch of videos. The Soyuz rocket in Russia. Everyone's got their cell phones up, and nothing is on any of the cell phones.
Yeah, nothing's being reflected back, or something that's not what they're pointing at, like this. I mean, there's clearly something, but there's nothing in the video of what's in front of them. And you'd be able to see that bright orange from a mile away.
Darn right. What is she even looking at? Where is that guy? Where is that? There's nobody in front of her.
She's got her fingers on that like she's trying to zoom in. Like, you're like, oh, let me zoom in on this. But there's nothing in the picture.
Here's my theory. These people don't even exist.
Which ones?
All 4 astronauts.
Oh, the astronauts?
You ever meet them?
Mm-mm.
Now, maybe they do. Maybe they use them for a few things. They have some doubles. They have some lookalikes or whatever. I don't know. But why would they fake this? Again, they're faking it. What the hell, right?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. It looks like they would just bring them out on the stage and have somebody standing back there with their pictures, and then they would zoom in on them and you could see them in the picture. That would make more sense.
Right. So again, maybe they do it to confuse us, to get us arguing, to get us wondering, to get us confused, get us tired. People do burn out when there's just too much data, so they're loading us with data, and people just burn out. And they know that. They know that people don't want to work that hard at thinking. This is the picture. I'm sure you've seen this. This is the night side of the Earth. How do you get
Artemis picture, right?
This is from Artemis. It's the night side of Earth. This bright line here is the sun peeking around. So this is the dark side of the moon, the dark side of the Earth.
Right.
And then 12 hours later, they give us this picture, which is the exact same thing, just dark. And they said, they were taken minutes apart. But this one was a long exposure. Long exposure where they're moving 25,000 miles an hour. The Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. It's moving sideways at 67,000 miles per hour. But they're taking a long exposure.
Right. Yeah, that's...
So there's a big problem. All the clouds are exactly the same. This shot right here, dark side of the Earth again. Super bright. Must be a super long exposure. Why isn't her face, her hair, the inside of the capsule blown out?
Right, because the camera's on this side of it, so that should all be overexposed as well.
Everything should be overexposed. And there's no light on the Earth. The only thing that, if they did a long exposure, we should be able to see like city lights.
Mm-hmm.
Because they show us lights at night from the ISS, and then you see the city lights. Just stupid. Again, it's all stupid. Again, out the window, dark side of the Earth looks like the day side of the Earth. All of a sudden, we can take pictures of the dark side of the Earth. All the time before, we can never see clouds or continents or anything. And then we get the shot of the moon. Now, the moon looks pretty small when they're going close to the moon, but we could just blame that on focal length. But here's the problem. It's a full moon. Almost a full moon. So
right.
Why isn't it bright?
Right. I mean, it's brighter than that on Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look up at this moon, it's brighter than that.
Yeah. and there's no atmosphere blocking us or closer. It should be bigger. It's so dumb. And they literally do it on purpose. They do it on purpose, right? When we look at the moon, we see this, right? This is the moon. It's a light. NASA shows us the transit of the moon, and it should be a full moon, right? This is actually from NASA, from 1 million miles away. Now, the sun is behind the camera, so this should be the bright side of the moon.
Right, so it should be super bright. It should be like a light in your face.
Yeah.
If it was real, of course.
And you know what's funny? People that believe NASA's real and this is real, they'll just make up something and they'll believe it. Even though they made it up, they'll believe it themselves. They're like, well, you know, the sunlight, you need the atmosphere to help intensify the brightness. And because we're in space, things are more muted, you know, or the Earth is so bright, the camera lens shut down the iris and, you know, the moon doesn't look as bright.
Yeah. Every excuse in the book.
Yeah. You can make up anything. It's fun being a Glober because you can make up stuff, right? Moon from Earth, a sunlit, more reflective, smooth surface than the dusty, dirty moon, and I'm standing right next to it. Why isn't it lit up like this?
Just doesn't have that. Doesn't have that reflection, does it?
It doesn't have the reflective moon dust. The moon dust is very, very, very reflective.
And the thing is, this ball that you've taken a picture of, that thing is closer than the moon is. You know, because the sun is supposedly way back here,
right.
So it should light this thing up way better than it would light the moon.
Every time you cut your distance to an object, it gets 4 times brighter. It's called the inverse square law of light. So if the moon was 1 lumen from Earth, it's brighter than that. But if it was 1 lumen, we went halfway to the moon, it'd be 4, halfway again, 16, halfway again, 64. And when you got to 100 miles from the moon, I forget the number of lumens, but it's more lumens than we experience the sun from Earth. So the moon should look brighter than the sun for us to see it the way we see it. No light. This is a light. This is a rock. This is not a rock.
Well, hey, I've seen the moon from the original moon landing. It was pretty dark and dusty looking.
Dusty, dirty ball, I call it. This is a street light. That's a moonlight. That's a local light. The nature of light is the same. People have such a hard time wrapping their mind around it. It's incredible. Incredible. And then you may have seen this. Look at this little bouncy house material here. This is going to be above these superheated engines with 25,000 mile an hour winds. This is going to withstand it.
Yeah. And extreme temperature, I'm sure. I mean, that cone, doesn't that nozzle there, like according to them, isn't it like glowing red?
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be some pretty hot stuff.
Want me to give you the Glober excuse? I'll just make it up off the top of my head. They do this so birds don't go in there and create nests while it's on Earth. And when it takes off, it burns up and then the rocket just goes. That's what it's for. Right. It's to keep birds out and rodents out. That's pretty good. Right. I just made that up.
I can only imagine what they're going to say. Well, they're going to say, well, that's some kind of insulative material that's super high heat.
Yeah.
And it'll withstand 1,000,000 degrees, something ridiculous.
Aerodynamics. If you put these square pegs on the side on the wing of an airplane, it would cause all sorts of turbulence at 500 miles per hour. This thing goes 25,000 miles per hour. This thing only goes 2,300 miles per hour. Mm-hmm. And it can't even have paint on it because the paint will burn off from the friction.
Right.
But we got this PVC pipe that goes all the way up the side.
Yeah, that's a very rudimentary looking item there. That doesn't even look
Legos.
Space. It doesn't even look spacey. I mean, you can see better stuff on that on Battlestar Galactica from the 70s or 80s. You know, it looks more real than that thing.
Yeah, insane. And then we saw that. We'll go to the next one. If you get pulled over by the police have a camera on them. There's a camera in the car. There's a camera outside the car, facing forward, facing backwards, right? If you're sending people to the moon, you'd have all of these 8K cameras mounted all over the inside, on the astronauts on the outside of the spaceship, and they'd be recording the whole time. What did we get? We got interviews of live streams of them playing with their food. Never once did they take the video camera and point it out the window.
Right.
They're playing with their food.
Yeah, it would only make sense even in, you can watch a Hollywood movie to tell you that. I mean, they would have cameras everywhere to be monitoring everything. They'd be like, hey, there's something floating around over there. There's a leak over there. Did you see that in the corner? They're going to know before you would know. They're going to have cameras everywhere.
Yeah. And you see this guy, he's got this beaded bracelet on. Well, why would you bring a beaded bracelet on there? What if it got hooked on something, it snapped, the beads went everywhere, and then somebody aspirated one of the beads? Right?
Right.
And then this guy, he's got a different bracelet on. The next day, they had different bracelets on. They have all different bracelets, and they were only allowed to bring 3.3 pounds of personal items. So would you waste it on a bunch of bracelets?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. That you want anything loose.
Want to hear the Glober argument? I'll be the Glober again if you want.
Yeah. What would a Glober say?
They brought them up there, so when they come back, they can sell the beads to people. Going, this bead was in space; it went around the moon, and they could sell them for hundreds or $1,000. Just like Buzz Aldrin sold a bunch of nickels he brought to the moon. He said this nickel or quarter or whatever it was went to the moon. So they went, and that's a lot of money. That bracelet, he could sell. There's 50 beads on there. Sell them for $500 a piece. That's $25,000.
Right.
There you go. I just debunked it. So that's why they brought the bracelets. Again, you can make anything up, and people will believe it if it fits their bias.
Yeah, I would have to say, that'd be a conflict of interest, wouldn't it? Hey, I'm going to drag a bunch of stuff in outer space with me and get it on camera so I can sell it later. I mean, aren't you getting paid enough already?
Who made this picture? Me or Artemis?
See, with CGI these days, with AI, I don't know. The moon looks totally fake to me in that picture.
I think
it doesn't look real.
Ooh, I was about to sneeze. Well, it's not. The whole thing's made in ChatGPT.
Okay.
How about this one? Well, the same thing. Actually, the moon, that was actually the moon picture that they took, and I spliced it in there in that other picture. Again, fake. Real or fake?
That looks more real like you'd see on Earth.
Yeah, I took that picture with my P1000 from Earth. Look at all the great detail, right? This is, I popped in their picture of the Earth. So wait a minute, maybe that's not from my P1000. Of course it is. This is the one that they gave us. This is from Artemis.
Okay, well, it's clearly not even lit up.
Right. Well, again, you got the sun must be up there because the top of the Earth is lit. So the top of this should be lit. They're only 4,000 miles away, or 400 or 4,000, whatever it is. Yeah, 4,000, I think. This should be lit. This should be a lit crescent.
Yeah, just exactly like the Earth if it was real.
Yeah, right. No, man, they wouldn't lie. They wouldn't lie. What's the point? Lie. What's the point? What's the point? So just I made this. I made that. Artemis made that. I made that. I think that's more interesting. Look, you can see the lights from the long exposure.
You can see the city.
Yeah, I made that. Oh no, this one was Artemis. No, I can't even remember. Right, and this is the real one. Look at this. What is this? What kind of selfie stick do they have that can take a picture of the side? That
looks like a plastic Solo cup is what that looks like.
It's a plastic Dixie. That's what it looks like. And these little cones. This looks like a bunch of wet gym towels laid down. I mean, it's so dumb. They're testing. They have to be testing us, right? Testing us or mocking us? Not sure. Well,
I'm gonna tell you right now. I know a lot of people, and they all believe this hook, line, and sinker. I mean, I don't understand it.
I made this. This is they said they're all going. We saw an unexpected solar eclipse. That means the moon went in front of the sun. Unexpected. I think they would know every single thing that they were going to see because they can figure out how many seconds they're going to be hitting the atmosphere and until they hit the ground and where they're going to hit. They should know everything, but unexpected. And and they said we could see the corona all the way around. The corona is the limb of the sun's light coming out. The reason the sun and the moon look like they're the same size from Earth, do you know the reason that they tell us?
Well, supposedly one is so far away and the other is closer, and
Right.
it's way smaller, but it's closer, so they appear the same size.
Right. So the sun is 400 times bigger and 400 times farther than the moon. That's what they tell us. So they're scaling, right? But so the sun and the moon are about half of a degree in the sky when looked at from Earth. So they look like they're the same size. And then to make an eclipse, the moon moves over and there's the corona of the sunlight coming out around the moon. Right? The moon would also be darker. We wouldn't see the moon. That's a whole other thing. But from 4,000 miles away, the moon would be 29 degrees of their sky. And the sun would still be a half a degree because they're not really much farther from it at all, right? This isn't even to scale. It should be like a quarter of this size. How would you have a corona?
Right.
So I made this video, and the idiotic clowns, the anti-flat Earth clowns, the big ones, they freaked out. They started making videos. He doesn't even know that an eclipse could happen. You know that the moon they show the moon with just a little bright spot on one side. They didn't show it all the way around. That's when he didn't show He didn't show the picture that we got. This is the actual picture. This is the actual picture. How does that little tiny dot right in the middle do this? There's no atmosphere. There's no refracting. There's nothing. The damage control on this is just incredible. I've been letting them just sink themselves. I thank NASA every day. Thank you for doubling the flat Earth population in just 10 days. It's incredible.
Right.
Great job. There's so many big channels that are now talking about this, right? And for those of you that don't believe, this is the mainstream, CBS News. This is what they show. This is what they show, CBS News. It's incredible. This is from my backyard on a slightly hazy night, and this is from Artemis, halfway to the moon.
Halfway to the moon.
What did they give them? Like a 1980s 1-pixel camera?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Of course, my theory on that is what they've been doing all the way since the beginning is they have to put a grainy picture out there with no stars because somebody would immediately be able to debunk it and say, hey, that star's not supposed to be there. You're supposed to be over here. And so they just blank it all out and give you a blurry picture and say, hey, we took it.
When you're on an airplane, they tell you about the oxygen mask in case there's a pressure leak, in case something happens and there's a pressure leak on a commercial airline flight, right? Depressurizes, you need to get oxygen, right? You got the whole thing. Do you think that a depressurization in space would be more dangerous? It'd be catastrophic.
It'd be catastrophic.
Yeah.
It would literally blow you. It would.
Yeah. So let's say they had a sudden drop in pressure, 50% drop. It doesn't kill them, but it's a sudden drop in pressure. Anything in a sealed container that has air in it would explode.
It would puff up for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. It would puff up like Nutella, glass or plastic. It would explode and there'd be Nutella everywhere. It could kill them all. Right. Here's the question. That Nutella came in for a perfect label shot. All 4 astronauts are over here. They're all over here. Where did the Nutella come from? Ready? This is going to show in a second. It'll disappear. And then, ready? Here it comes. Here it comes. Ready? Here it comes in. Who threw the Nutella in?
Right. That's just ridiculous right there.
It's so dumb.
See, I made a comment on a podcast about that because all of their other food is in these little plastic containers with labels on them, like that one right there.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's like putting a granola bar in this guy's zipper for him, and it's a granola bar in a special vacuum pack. Yeah. Well, if you're just going to throw Nutella around, why don't you just put a box of Little Debbie's out there? Let it float around too. Why do you need special packaging?
Yeah. And you got to go. You're flying 10 days around the moon, cramped quarters, the crappy toilet, $23 million toilet. And what? And think about the bile, the digestive juices in your stomach. They don't know where down is, so they're all over the place. They're trying to go up your esophagus, right? And so the chances of having gastral issues are extremely high, extremely high. So I'm in charge of like, all right, what are we going to do for these astronauts, right? I'm going to make them go on a juice fast for a week before they go. And then the only food they're going to have is going to be white turkey meat on plain bread, maybe some mayo if they're lucky, mashed potatoes, applesauce.
Right.
That's it. That's it. Something that's going to be easy, light on them. They're only going to eat the whole time. They're eating shrimp scampi. They had shrimp scampi. Shrimp scampi in the plastic bag. They're talking about the different gourmet foods that they have while they're playing with their food. And then you got this guy loading up with Baphomet on his hands. Everything with them is Baphomet, right?
Of course.
And Katy Perry flip her thing upside down. Baphomet. It's always Baphomet.
Imagine that.
The way you win a spiritual war is you convince people that there's no such thing. Tracking dot for the CGI, and when this thing moves along, the dot disappears. No dot. Watch it go back. No dot here. Right? The dot's supposed to be on this side. No dot.
Yeah.
No dot.
Question about that I was going to ask you.
And dot.
Let me ask you a question. Do you see where that dot shows up? Does it? Yeah. It almost looks like it's that red on the flag right there, bleeding through. It's like it
just showed up here and disappeared again. That's interesting. I don't know. Let's take a look at that.
Yeah, look at that. See how it almost lines up perfectly with the flag? It's like
I'm gonna take a look. Hold on. Here we go back. Not there.
It's not there, but here it comes. Not there.
It's a different red. I'm not gonna give that one to you.
Yeah, it looks like it's in line. I was just thinking to myself, I wonder if that's somehow something weird with the flag.
I mean, maybe the red confused it or whatever, and all of this stuff. Maybe even the astronauts. Nobody is ever on a rocket ship. None, ever on a rocket ship that's going up into space. Katy Perry wasn't on Blue Horizon or whatever. William Shatner wasn't on there. It's all just a stage show.
Right.
It's all just it's incredible. You don't have airplanes flying over rocket launches. You don't put fat, bloated, old 94-year-old guys with bad backs in a rocket that's going to fall into the desert. It's just absolutely incredible. And then you saw this. They're playing with the plush toy, right? Again, to keep kids. You watch both of her hands. You'll see both of her hand shadows go away. Both, right? You see the shadows on both hands, but no shadow from the toy. Where's the shadow from the toy? Yeah, both hands.
Yeah, so because you can see her hands, and it should be right in between her two hands.
Right.
So when she touches it, see her hands?
Yep.
Her hands are...
Yep, and no shadow.
Yeah, so that's clearly not there.
Yep.
Light. Light reflects differently in outer space.
Yeah. Glitches, the camera, all the 33s that are in there. Omega X33 watches they all wore, 3.3 pounds of personal items, 3.3 pounds of, what does that say, thrust of water, 330 cubic feet of living space, 3.3 million pounds.
Yep.
3.3 meters, and it's 322 tall, skull and bones.
Skull and bones.
That's coincidence, right?
Yeah, I posted that same picture you got there. I took it and put it on my TikTok, that same one, talked about it.
Nice. What else do we have?
I went back and checked up on some of that stuff too, because people said, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. That's not it." And I went on Omega's site, and that's all they talk about. Is that X33. I mean, that's everything lined up. It's like, well, that's what they're claiming online. So
yeah, incredible. They showed us this picture. First, we thought it was Australia. Then we thought it was South America, but it's actually Africa because we can see this land over here. We can see it over there. So that's what they're showing us. Where's South America? Where's Antarctica?
Right.
Where's the rest of Africa? Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I guess they've got it covered up under those clouds, and they're claiming you can't see it. It don't make any sense.
Nothing makes sense. And again, are they that dumb? Or they're testing us, or they're mocking us?
Well, again, like you said, when it comes to me, you, and others, we can see that they're mocking and, it's a joke. But I talk to so many people, and they all believe it. They think I'm a lunatic.
Yeah.
If I point something like that out, they're like, you're a crazy lunatic.
Yeah, rather than look at the evidence, they just assume if somebody believes something 100%, they don't need to look at any evidence. They can make up anything that supports their claim because it's true in their minds. Fly Me to the Moon, sorry about faking the moon, right? Came out by Apple last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was. In the movie, they had a backup plan to fake the moon landing in case they didn't do it, and it was called Project Artemis.
Yeah, see it right there.
Project Artemis.
Mm-hmm.
And so people are like, well, what about all the other photos of Earth, right? This is still on NASA's website. Go to the website, type in Blue Marble 2001 and Blue Marble 2007. And they're the same clouds. They're literally the same clouds.
They've just rotated them a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm going to show you all the anomalies in here. So I show here where I'm literally pulling them right off the NASA website, nasa.gov, showing exactly where to get them. I pull them off, I put them side by side, and we'll take a look. The same clouds. Look at the arrows, right? Look at the arrows right there. Same clouds. Same clouds.
Yeah, they've taken that cloud overlay and just kind of rotated it down and over a little bit. Everything's identical, though.
Yeah, and then put different land underneath it too. Are they lazy? Are they testing us? I think it's revelation of the method. They're like, we made it so easy for you. You should have known. It's on you, and that might be right. If you're too stupid, too lazy to see through the nonsense of Artemis and everything else, I think it is on you.
It could also be one of those things where they're like, look, we've been purposely trying to dumb people down for many, many years, and you've got all the chemicals, you've got all the stuff. Now it's like, let's throw something out there and see how many bite. And if you've got half the population that bite on this, then they're going to say, hey, we won. I mean, we've got this many that believe everything we say. We could literally, like I've said before, they could show monkeys out in outer space and they'd believe it. They'd say, oh, well, that's unbelievable. I can't believe it, but it's like the cotton candy planet. A planet looks like cotton candy.
There's people that said, if NASA came out tomorrow and said that they're faking space, they still wouldn't believe it.
Right. They would say,
right,
they win.
So during the launch and during the return, they can never show us video inside the Artemis because they can't fake those speeds and the reactions and stuff, right? So picture yourself, you're in this little capsule and you're falling back to Earth 25,000 miles an hour, and you have to hit the atmosphere at just the right speed, just the right angle, or you're going to skip off into space. That's what they tell you, right?
Right.
And it's this non-aerodynamic. This is the capsule here. Now, this is what they showed us, right? It's a visualization. This is NASA. So NASA can't even film it. They can see things light years away, but they can't see something 238,000 miles away or closer. This is when it's in our atmosphere, and they still can't film it.
Yeah, right? They could aim a high-quality camera up there and say, here it is.
Have a satellite film it or something, right? But why are they showing it upside down, right? Earth is that way. Right. This is it falling. Why are they showing it going up? Now, I first saw this. I thought, oh, this is our engine. What engine? But then this is literally the heat shield. Right. And so in reality, it should be like this. It should be like that.
Right. It would make more sense to show it like that for sure.
Yeah. or maybe, coming in at an angle. And then when you look at the speeds of the thing, it's absolutely insane. It's just dumb. But you have to remember what's going on here. So you have, and there's no communication for the 5 minutes that this is going on. Nobody can film it. Nobody can talk to them. And so the news is like, oh, we're waiting to hear if the pilot should be coming out of their plasma barrier or whatever. Right.
Right.
And so think about this. You're in here, 25,000 miles an hour.
Right.
You can't fathom 25,000 miles an hour, but just try to fathom it. Right. You're coming down. You're right. She is in here and it's on fire. Right. And so they're waiting, and all of a sudden she gets on the radio and she goes, "Hi, mission control. We're fine." And just like totally, she's sitting in an office. These two women are going 40 miles an hour. Right. Right. They're literally going 0 to 40, and they scream their asses off, and people crap themselves. Right. Like, there's no man on earth that wouldn't be sweating balls, vomiting, shitting themselves in there. It's just stupid. It's just absolute stupid. A lot of people go, they dump it out of an airplane, right? I think they did Apollo like this because people actually, they had video of it coming down, right? But I don't think they did anything. I don't think anything came from the sky. Nobody was there to see it. Nobody filmed it.
Right.
I don't think anything came down. I don't think they did this.
Yeah, they probably could have got away with that in the 60s.
Yeah, well, they did get away with it in the 60s.
Right. I mean, but as far as now, there are so many people with stuff pointed up at the sky, they'd say, "Hey, I just saw an airplane fly by and the thing came out."
For those of you that don't know, I'm sure you saw this. This is the toilet that had some problems, $23 million toilet. Now, this little ring lid pops up. You put a garbage bag over the rim, and then you snap it back down so it holds the bag, just like your kitchen garbage can, right? And then they turn on the vacuum. But think about it. If you put a bag over the end of your vacuum, put a rubber band around it, and turn on the vacuum's just going to suck it in, and that's it. It's stuck. There's no more vacuum. Right. So there is no vacuum. So the vacuum, all that does is make the bag open up and and
hold it down
and hold it there. So now you have probably explosive diarrhea, but let's just say you have a solid dump, and you got to put it in there. There's no gravity. Then you have to flip this thing open and pull the drawstring, just like your kitchen garbage can. And then there's a stick that pushes it down into the receptacle here. Are you kidding me? I don't think you could use this toilet on Earth with gravity assisting you.
Right.
Where you have ample toilet paper and everything. Right? You got 3 people sharing this bathroom for 10 days with no gravity?
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
Like you're saying, if the bag was sucked down and you sat over that hole and used the bathroom, that wherever it came out at is where it would be, and it would just float right back up. There'd be no.
What if the bag got a hole in it? What if you had the poo made a hole in the bag? Would it suck you into the toilet? You'd be stuck.
I don't know. There's been too much vacuuming.
Yeah. So this is all over the mainstream media. Don't believe me? Google it. Artemis astronauts warned not to fart. All right? This is them mocking us. Artemis astronauts received dire warning farting too much could set the spacecraft on fire. Broken toilet, no shower, and farts. Here's everything Artemis crew is dealing with. They're mocking us, right?
Yeah, they'd have to be. They'd have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't put a human in anywhere and say, "Hey, don't have normal biological functions or this whole thing's going to blow up." It'd be like, well, you better not get a person in there then, because you're feeding them shrimp scampi. Okay.
They got rid of God out of school and they replaced it with the Space Initiative. Space Initiative dilutes God. At Costco, they had a great book on planets, high quality paper, kind of a book that you buy and you keep it forever, right? And it costs like $12. It costs like $50 to make, but they sell it for $12, right? And when you get to the page of Uranus, it looks like this. That's just a coincidence, right?
Right.
That's Uranus.
Yeah,
they're mocking us, right?
Right. Yeah. I don't know why they'd have to put it that big, and I don't know why they'd put it right in the middle of the page. That doesn't make any sense either.
I know why. and they're always doing sexual innuendos. This is not what the water looked like. The weather conditions were different, but this is the splashdown that we saw, right? Who's filming that? What drone is over there? And it draws a penis.
I see that
in the water, right? And then you look at other things that NASA's done. This is the flight route for the Apollo mission.
All right. Obviously, right. What that looks like. This
is the rover on Mars.
Okay. There's the tracks. We can see what.
Not only is it, they even got a little thing. All right, and people will make excuses for this. And then here is another NASA launch.
Oh,
and then you got Bezos. You got Bezos and Blue Origin, and what's his face, right? You got the female and the male.
Yep. I've talked about that before, how these things are phallic objects. Right? And it goes all the way back to ancient Babylonian, where they worshipped these gods, and they worshipped these pagan gods, and by doing it, they would actually, have orgies and stuff. It's all about sex. That's because all those old statues have got male appendages hanging off of them.
Yep.
That's what they are.
When they were returning back to Earth and they had to go from the main living room into the capsule, they showed the separation. Here's the separation. So this part was attached to this part just a little bit. And how did they get from here into there? This is the heat shield. I don't know why it looks so dented in, but this is the weighted heat shield. Remember, why doesn't the thing flip over and go nose down? That's what it should do. Oh, because it's weighted. But wait a minute, it's coming in at a sideways angle. Why wouldn't it tip over? Right? They think, right. If it came in from, it's going to hit at what level will the atmosphere slow it down? 120,000 feet. There's so little air up there, but let's pretend it starts slowing down at 120,000 feet. The G-forces at 25,000. If it was coming straight down, it would have 8 seconds to slow down, and then they're all dead, right? But they're like, no, it's coming in at this angle. Well, it traveled, I think it was like 1,500 miles sideways. That still doesn't work. But if it's going sideways, why doesn't the heavy part start pointing down and it start tumbling or something?
Right.
There's nothing realistic about this. How did they get in here? Where's the door? The door's over here. Did they have spacesuits?
Right, and it wasn't all the way inside. It's just barely on there, right?
Yeah.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
How did they get in there?
I'd like to see a diagram of how that thing's supposedly drawn, where they crawl up into that capsule. I'd like to see that.
So this is them going in. This is the Navy guys. Now look how small this thing is. It's pretty small. These are pretty big guys too, right? It's pretty small. So and always the cameraman. This is like a regular school shooting or something. They never get any good footage. It's always all over the place, right? So look at this little door. You got to slide a slip in there. This guy goes in head and feet first. Bam, no problem. Gets right in. Okay, that's AI, right? And now another 6-foot guy is going in there right after him. You got 3 astronauts in there, and they're walking across. Like, how big is this thing? Look, he took like 4 steps, 5 steps across. Where did all this space come from?
It is pretty roomy in there.
There should be vomit and poop all over the place, at best.
Yeah, you can see the thing is tiny, but when they go in, and all of a sudden the thing looks huge.
And look how thick the door is. Think about that. How thick are the walls? How much room is in there? And then where did the parachutes come from? They got these balls blocking it. They never show you the top. Where did the parachutes come? How did they not burn up? Nylon parachutes, 5,000 degrees. What metal can survive 2,000 degrees?
Right.
They said it was 5,000 degrees. They're testing our intelligence. And you know what? I might be with them. If you don't see through this, maybe you deserve what's coming. Maybe. Right.
Yeah, see, I talk about that same thing all the time on satellites. It's you've got a satellite in outer space, supposedly, that's made out of aluminum, whatever, even if it was steel. And, this stuff melts at 1,200 to 1,500 degrees, 2,000 maximum, let's say, to give them some room. But they claim they're in the thermosphere where it's over 4,000 degrees. So how do you have circuit boards with computers and things telling telemetry and moving these things around and fuel on board, all in something made out of aluminum in a 4,000 degree atmosphere, but you don't have any problems.
And
Nothing
you can see it from Earth 300.
fails.
Yeah, you can see it from Earth 350 miles away at the closest, and it's the size of a Volkswagen. Right? You could not see a 747 at 14 miles away.
Yeah. I talk about that, and people just let me have it. They're like, I can see airplanes all day long. I'm like, you can see an airplane at 8, 10, 12 miles away. Now, you can see a speck maybe in the sky, and you wouldn't even know it was a plane probably until you see something behind it moving. Oh, I can see it. It's like, really? Well, what color is it? How many windows does it have?
Can you see the engines on it? No. Well, those engines are bigger than satellites.
Right. So then they tell me, they're like, well, you're not seeing the satellite, you're seeing the reflection. You can see a reflection 350 miles away. I'm like, really?
Light spreads out. It has angular resolution. It gets smaller. It diminishes in brightness. Here's what I tell people. Don't believe anything I say. If you want to know the truth, God bless you, look for it. Find it on my website, flatearthtape.com. You have a lot of great stuff on your website, a lot of my videos. I love it. I tell people all the time, take all my videos, put them on your website, put them on your channel, start your own channel, monetize it, do something. You're like the only person that's ever done it. So thank you.
Yeah. I when I go through and find videos I like of yours,
take them. Don't even ask me. Don't ask me. Take them.
I mean, I don't claim they're mine. They've just got a link, and you go to.
Most people link them back to my website. That's all I ask. Just link them back to flatearthtape.com. Just say, hey, check out flatearthtape.com. But you don't even have to do that. I appreciate it if you do it. But and it's only if you're doing it to wake people up, sending them to my website is going to wake them up. It's going to help them. So take the time, learn the truth, get my app, check out the frequently asked questions page, watch the daily video every day. If that's all you do, some people have the app, they just watch the frequently asked questions every day. I mean, the featured video every day. Mm-hmm. Other people using it as a dating app. It's an amazing dating app. It does. People use it for meetups. Actually, I found out about a meetup this Saturday in New York, right near where I am. I may go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's neat. I've got the app, but I don't. I only use it for the certain functions. I don't have it.
Well, so if you you don't even have to subscribe to get this information. So this is the friend finder. I'll just show you. People are like, nobody believes in flat Earth. These are just the people on my app that have the friend finder, right?
Right.
It's crazy. And it's not just the United States, UK, right? You can't even see the country anymore unless you zoom in, of course. And then the meetup maker, not the meetup maker, the heart is the dating, right? What do you mean dating? Well, if you're a flat earther, you only want to be with other flat earthers. So you go there, you set your age, you pick your age range, the radius, how far and then it'll search. And I favorited 20, so I'll just click the heart up there, and I've got 20 people in here that are interested in meeting handsome young men, right? So. And you message them. And all of that is $11 a year, period. And you get everything on the app. But the app only costs $3 to get all of the information you need to learn about flat Earth and teach others. So,
yeah, well, that's really nice, and including the app. If you're single and wanting to find somebody with the same, thought pattern, discernment that you have, somebody that's equally yoked, as the Bible would put it.
Absolutely.
You don't, if you're even like myself, of course, I'm not out looking for anybody, but if I was, I couldn't, I can't just settle for somebody that's, I don't even believe in God, or I believe,
people have an issue with different religious beliefs, and that's hard enough. But if you're a flat earther, it's because it's based on truth. It's not based on faith. It's based on understanding. It's based on science. It's based on truth, and it matters. If your significant other is a globe earther and doesn't believe in flat Earth, I think that's a bigger problem.
Right.
But here's the thing. The flat earther, we've got the advantage. If the person that we're with has a brain, loves you at all, over time, they'll all right, let me see what you see. And then they'll wake up. There's 0% chance that you're going back to the globe. Unless, of course, the Earth is a globe, but it's not. Okay? But it's not. It's just not. I mean, the globe is a satanic, ridiculous bottle. And the best way to make someone a flat earther, first teach them about their globe.
Right.
And they'll become a flat earther instantly.
Right. That's, it's funny because, and I'll tell it really quick. You see, I talk about just like what you were talking about, these high temperatures. And, we've got satellites supposedly, dishing out, landman when you're binge watching your Netflix. And this dude's supposedly in outer space in 4,000 degrees, right? A geostationary satellite. So a friend of mine he's a smart guy, but he's 100% glober, but he will listen once in a while. And I talk to him about it every chance I get at work. He works, he's a maintenance man. He works on commercial ovens. And he was saying, you'll never guess what these people did. He said, what they did is the light bulb went out on the top of this oven. It's a glass bulb, right? And so they put one of these new bulbs in it, one of these new LEDs, a plastic one. He said they turned the oven on and it got up to 500 degrees. And guess what happened to the light bulb? It turned into liquid and ran down on top of the product. And they opened it up and they're like, oh, the stuff is ruined. It's covered in melted plastic. And he's like, how crazy can a person not think that a plastic light bulb can do anything in a 500 degree oven? And I said, that's a really good point. I said, I wonder what kind of person could think that a piece of aluminum can survive in 4,000 degrees in outer space for 70 years and not need any maintenance, and it won't just melt. And he's like, well, he just kind of locked up for a minute.
I'll give you the Glober argument. In outer space, there's very few particles. So even though it's 4,000 degrees, there's less particles touching it. So it's not really as hot. It's 4,000 degrees, but it's separate. It's spread out. It's spread out. All right, like
so little points of 4,000 degrees
instead of points of 4,000 degrees, right? Instead of a condensed 4,000.
Okay,
so it must be true because they don't melt. Therefore, it must be true.
Yeah.
Kenny, anything else? Final thoughts? Gonna wrap it up.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think you've covered pretty much everything that.
Awesome.
I appreciate you coming on. Like you said, I've got itsflatbro.com and I put your videos on there all the time. And so
please keep taking them. Take them all. And I'm going to be having some really cool features on the website that people can take that. We can give you the links and you can just put them right on your website. So you have a lot of functionality. It's going to be absolutely amazing.
I'd like that because I've got a website guy. I can't build it myself. And I'm always telling him, hey, can you put this on there? Can you do this? Can you do that? And so I'm always looking for stuff to put on there for information because I can only do so much. I do a lot of podcasts, but I do all kinds of other stuff where you're kind of more focused on this one area. I do stuff about Bigfoot and aliens and you name it.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I do other stuff too, but Flat Earth is the key. Flat Earth is the one that unlocks everything else. Flat Earth is the foundation of all the other lies.
Right.
If you don't have a foundation, you're going to be lost in the sauce.
Right. I got you.
All right, Kenny. Thanks so much, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks. Hopefully I'll see you down there at Dallas.
I maybe ask them if I'm coming. By the way, Jeremiah, if you're listening, no worries. If it's out of the budget, don't do it. And by the way, I'm not asking for a fee. It's just the expenses for me to get there with airport travel and everything. It's not cheap. And these conferences cost a lot of money. And those guys do a great job. And I spoke there last year. Maybe I'll speak there next year. Who knows? Or maybe I'll speak there this year. Who knows?
Yeah, it costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of money to attend it.
Yeah, I listen. Those conferences, it's a big risk. And hats off to the people that pull them off. There's also, they're doing that one, and then a couple weeks earlier or later is the International Truth Expo in Arizona, and that's a fun one also. So there's two conferences within like 3 weeks of each other, and check it. And I highly recommend. There's nothing like getting together with real people in real life. That's what we have to get back to. And so if you looking for like a little mini 3-day vacation, go to both of these conferences. They're absolutely fantastic. You can find them on the app, on my website, and International Truth Expo and truthercon.com.
Yep. I've got that same link for TrutherCon on mine as well and pictures from last year.
Perfect.
Anyway,
All right, man. Kenny, thanks so much, man. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks. See ya.
All righty. Bye-bye.